Welcome to NBA Now by Chat Sports, all things Lakers. I'm Hannah Kulik, aka Laker Han. You can follow me on Twitter at Hannah_Kulik and on Instagram at Hannah Rose Kulik. Alright guys, Anthony Davis is officially a Laker. It feels so amazing to say after months and months of speculation and stress. I honestly have not slept in like 6-7 months because I've been so worried that the Lakers were not going to have another star this summer come play with LeBron James and the Lakers, and I was like, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? I cannot have another season where the Lakers don't make the playoffs, but now I don't have to worry about that because June 15th, it was announced that the Lakers and the Pelicans have reached an agreement where the Lakers got Anthony Davis and the Pelicans received Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, and 3 future first-round draft picks. Now, a lot of people were very upset about this actually because they were saying the Pelicans received a very good offer and that the Lakers actually made a mistake in trading their young core for Anthony Davis. So today we are going to be discussing whether or not the Lakers actually made a mistake trading away essentially all of their young core for Anthony Davis. Now, like I said, a lot of fans were very upset because they thought that the Pelicans received better end of this trade because not only did they receive Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, 3 future round draft picks, but pairing this up with some of the young talent that they already have and some of the young talent that they are projected to have after the draft, i.e. Zion Williamson, the Pelicans are definitely going to be a very exciting team for the future. It may take a couple of years for them to develop, but they are definitely on the path and they're going to be very exciting to watch. However, at the end of the day, you guys, as we all know, having LeBron James, we need to win now, and the Lakers were able to receive Anthony Davis, pairing him up with LeBron James to create this dream team, and who knows, guys, free agency is just around the corner and another big free agent could be on the way, which would be so exciting. But before we continue to break this all down, I'm curious, do you guys think the Lakers gave up too much in this trade? If you do, type Y for yes. If not, type N down below. Now let's talk about the trade details because there are a lot of rumors and a lot of reports surrounding this. Now apparently, the Lakers were willing to trade Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and pretty much anyone else on the roster besides LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma. And apparently, if you believe all the rumors and the reports, Kyle Kuzma was actually the player that the Pelicans wanted the most. So a lot of fans were extremely upset because the Lakers' unwillingness to trade Kuzma and include him in that package was a very big risk, because there was a risk that if the Lakers didn't trade Kyle Kuzma to the Pelicans and include them in the package, that they were going to miss out on Anthony Davis. And a lot of fans were saying, how the heck can you miss out on a player like Anthony Davis for Kyle Kuzma? How are you so willing to trade Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, the players that you originally thought were going to be the face of your franchise, all for a guy who was a low first-round draft pick? Why are you prioritizing Kyle Kuzma over Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball in this trade? Now let's talk about some of the facts here, because I know this is something that a lot of Laker fans were very frustrated on, that the fact that the Lakers were so unwilling to trade Kyle Kuzma, yet were willing to part with pretty much anyone else on their roster. Starting with Brandon Ingram, okay? Now, I understand a lot of fans are really high on Brandon Ingram. They think his ceiling is so high, he has a ton of potential, and I agree, you guys. I think Brandon Ingram, if he's able to stay healthy, does have a lot of potential and could definitely be a star in this league. But let's talk about his career with the Lakers and his career in the NBA so far. So Brandon Ingram is going to be entering his 4th NBA season, and as we all know, a few years ago he was selected by the Lakers with their 2nd pick, just behind Ben Simmons. And you know, Brandon Ingram was a guy who was kind of advertised to be like a Kevin Durant, a future Kevin Durant player. He was long, he was lanky, he had so much potential, but he definitely had some things he had to work on, and we saw that portrayed in his rookie season, which he kind of was a little bit underwhelming. You definitely saw some flashes of that potential. However, his shot wasn't too great and he was just so skinny and so kind of just weak and frail. It was very clear that if he was going to be a good player, he was going to have to get stronger and put on some serious size. So going into his 2nd season, however, he He was apparently working out extremely hard, and there was a lot of expectations for him going into that second season. Magic Johnson actually made an announcement during the offseason that out of all of the players on the roster, Brandon Ingram was untouchable in regards to trade talks. Now, his second season, Brandon Ingram did have some improvements, and we saw him kind of start off the season a little bit slow, but towards midway through, he was really starting to come into his own, and we were starting to see the Brandon Ingram that was originally advertised. He wasn't as amazing as we, had originally hoped that he would be, but he was definitely starting to come into his own. But then he was injured, and this was kind of the same scenario last season. We saw him struggle a bit in the beginning of his third season, just to be coming into his own, then to be unfortunately have to be shut down for the rest of the season because of his season-ending injury. However, this season it was a little bit more serious because he was announced that he actually had a blood clot, which is something that is a very serious condition and actually destroyed and ended Chris Bosh's career. So there are a lot of question marks still regarding Brandon Ingram in terms of his health and whether or not he is going to be able to just be able to continue to play. So there's still a lot of question marks regarding Brandon Ingram. Let's move on from Brandon Ingram and let's get into Lonzo Ball and why the Lakers were willing to part ways with Mr. Lonzo Ball. Now, before we move on and talk about Lonzo, I want to take a quick second to remind you all to subscribe to Chat Sports here on YouTube and the new Chat Sports Lakers YouTube channel as well. You guys, we're just getting started this offseason. There is still so much that is going to happen. Make sure you are subscribed down below so that you don't miss a single second of it. I honestly cannot wait. It's going to be an amazing offseason. I can just feel it. We're already off to an amazing start trading for Anthony Davis, and it's only going to get better. So make sure you're subscribed not only to Chat Sports here on YouTube, but also to the new Chat Sports Lakers YouTube channel as well. But let's move on to talking about Lonzo Ball, because Lonzo Ball was honestly the most hyped player I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, the amount of media attention this kid got is truly just unbelievable. When the Lakers drafted him with their second pick a couple of years ago, I mean, it was unbelievable. I went to the summer league actually that season, and the amount of media, the amount of Lonzo Ball jerseys that were around me, it literally felt like an NBA championship game, and this was just summer league. Lonzo Ball was considered a hero when he played in Chino Hills High School. He was a hero for UCLA during his freshman season, and he was just portrayed to be pretty much, if you believe all the reports and rumors, just like the greatest player in the entire world. When the Lakers selected him with their second pick in the NBA draft, Magic Johnson went on record and said that this kid is going to break all of his records. He's going to have his jersey hanging in the rafters, and he is pretty much just going to be the best player to ever play the game of basketball. And I don't mean to be a negative Nancy, but in my opinion, Lonzo Ball has been a pretty big disappointment. And maybe not in the reason that you guys would all think. I mean, it's obvious that when you watch this kid play from day one, you could see how talented he was, that he had amazing on-court vision, especially in a fast-paced offense. He was a much better defender than he was originally advertised, which was a very nice surprise for me. But for the most part, he was the worst scorer and the worst shooter I have ever seen. And in today's modern NBA, if you're going to be a star guard, you have to be able to score the ball. Maybe you don't have to be like a Steph Curry, but you need to be at least able to get to the rim and make a mid-range jump shot every once in a while. Now, Lonzo's three-point shot wasn't too horrible. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't crazy bad. However, his mid-range game was non-existent, and he literally could not get to the rim to save his life. So he really needed to work on his shooting and his scoring. He also was only a 40% free throw shooter, and that is worse than Shaq, you guys. When your starting point guard is a worse free throw shooter than Shaq, you're gonna have some problems, okay? But besides Lonzo's shooting woes, something that really was just the main reason that he's been such a disappointment for me, and it's something that's honestly out of his control, so it's not really his fault, but has been all of his injuries. Since the second the Lakers drafted him, he has just been plagued with injury after injury. We saw it during the summer league when he was injured. He wasn't able to play in the championship game, And we saw it his rookie season when he only played 52 games. And then we saw it this past season when he was only able to play 47 games. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter if you were the most talented player in the entire world, no matter how much potential you have, how amazing you are at basketball, if you are not able to stay healthy, doesn't really mean anything. And it's been unfortunate because we even saw, last season or after his rookie season in the offseason, he wasn't really able to practice on the court because he was rehabbing and coming back from his knee surgery. And then if reports are true, he's also hasn't really been able to play a lot and practice on court this offseason so far because he's been rehabbing his ankle injuries. Plus, when it comes to Lonzo Ball, he also brings a ton of drama around him, whether it's LeVar Ball making another crazy comment, the rise and fall of big baller brands, baby mama drama, or his aspiring rap career. Lonzo just has 1,000,001 things on his mind, and truly just a lot of distractions and a lot of drama that goes with him. Now, obviously, with the health, that's out of his control, but a lot of the other things, in my opinion, have just been big distractions and a big disappointment and really kind of just hindering his career with the Lakers. Now, obviously, I understand that Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram have extremely high ceilings and they have a lot of potential, and that's why a lot of fans were so sad to see them go. And I, for one, am too. I'm very partial to the Lakers' young core. I really do want to see them be able to get the time to develop and turn into these stars that I know they can be. However, at the end of the day, we were able to get Anthony Davis, you guys, and that was going to have to come at a big cost. And if you were looking solely on why the Lakers may be more willing to part ways with Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, you could understand why. Obviously, they are very attractive in a trade package, but also looking from a Lakers standpoint, these two guys have been inconsistent since the second they drafted them, and they really have struggled with a ton of injuries. And no matter how talented you are, how high your ceiling is, if you are unable to stay healthy for an entire season, or at least a majority of this season, it really doesn't mean anything. And we saw this exact same thing with Josh Hart as well, who was another guy who really has just struggled since the Lakers drafted him in order to stay healthy, which is really unfortunate for me because I, for one, was a big Josh Hart fan. But I'm curious, if both Lonzo and Brandon Ingram are able to stay healthy for the next, the future of their career with the New Orleans Pelicans, which do you think is going to have a better career? If you think it is Lonzo Ball, type L down below, and if you think it is Brandon Ingram, type B down below. Okay, now let's move on to Kyle Kuzma, the one Laker player, one member of the Lakers' young core that they were unwilling to part ways with. And let's talk about why, and let's talk about what Kyle Kuzma has done for himself and for the Lakers franchise these last couple of years. So unlike Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, who, obviously had crazy expectations of them, everyone knew who they were, everyone was excited when the Lakers drafted them, Kyle Kuzma was kind of an unknown. He was born in Flint, Michigan. He played in the University of Utah, and it wasn't really until the 2017 NBA Draft Combine that people even knew of his name or even knew anything really about him. He completely killed it in the draft combine, and so much so that he was actually shut down after just the first day because he played so well. His agents just didn't want to risk it. He played so unbelievably well enough that he really kind of turned the heads of Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, and they actually picked him as their 27th pick overall in the NBA draft over Jordan Bell, who a lot of Laker fans at the time were really hoping that the Lakers were going to select. I just really quickly do want to go on record and say that I, for one, knew Kyle Kuzma was going to be a complete star from the second the Lakers drafted him, and really at the draft combine. I have been a Kyle Kuzma fan since day one. You can go back on my Twitter when I got in a bunch of fights with Laker fans over the fact that the Lakers picked him over Jordan Bell, because I have always believed in Kyle Kuzma. But let's move on, because that's not important. Right now, what is important is talking about Kyle Kuzma and what he has done for himself these last 2 years, because ever since the Lakers have drafted him, he has just been truly unbelievable, and honestly one of the best rookies the Lakers have ever had, honestly, in my opinion. He helped the Lakers win their Summer League championship. He was MVP of that finals game when Lonzo Ball couldn't play because he was injured. And during his rookie season, he set a franchise record of most threes made by a rookie. And At times during his rookie season, while the team was almost unwatchable, especially when Lonzo and Brandon Ingram were out with injuries, Kyle Kuzma single-handedly still kept fans excited and still had fans tuning in to watch him because he had some unbelievable highlight games. He had 38 points against the Houston Rockets and helped the Lakers beat that Rockets team, which at the time they were actually the best NBA team. They had the best record in the NBA. At the time they were on like a 15-game winning streak. That was just such an unbelievably exciting game. He also had 16 points in the fourth quarter to help the Lakers beat the Boston Celtics. And obviously, us Laker fans know that it is always a good day when Lakers can beat Boston, no matter what is going on for both franchises. He had such an amazing rookie season that he was actually honored as a first-team all-rookie selection. Now, fast forward to his second season, and Kyle Kuzma honestly didn't slow down. He had some extremely impressive games. He had some huge performances last season, including a 41-point game in just 3 quarters against the Detroit Pistons. He also had 20 points in just the first quarter against the Houston Rockets and 23 points in the first quarter against the Philadelphia 76ers. And to put that in a little bit of perspective, you guys, he is the first Lakers player to do that since Kobe Bryant did it in 2011. So that is saying something right there. Kuz was also invited to come and play in the Rising Stars game during NBA All-Star Weekend last season. And not only did he have an amazing game, but he was actually MVP of that game. It was unbelievable, you guys. He also was recently announced that he was invited to come and work out for the USA's FIBA World Cup team. And the only 2 other young players that were also invited to come and try out for that team are Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum. So when you consider all that Kyle Kuzma has done, you guys, in just these first 2 years of him being in the NBA, and compare it to Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, doesn't take a rocket scientist to really understand why the Lakers would want to keep this guy around, you guys. He has so much talent, especially considering the fact that when you just put your feelings aside, put your emotions aside, and look at it logically and understand that he is the best fit moving forward with LeBron James, you guys, it makes sense that the Lakers would want to keep him and that they would go to such lengths to try to keep him out of any trade package regardless of what player they were going to acquire. Now, there are a couple of other things I want to mention in regards to Kyle Kuzma, but before we do so, I want to take a quick second to remind you guys to follow me both on Instagram and Twitter. Obviously, it's going to be an extremely exciting offseason for Laker fans, so whether or not you just want to keep up with all things Lakers this summer, or if you are also looking to get in shape this summer, I also love to post workout videos and fitness tips as well, so make sure you are giving me a follow both on Instagram at Hannah Rose Kulik and on Twitter at Hannah_Kulik. Now, another reason that Kyle Kuzma has been proven to be so valuable to this Lakers organization is by how well he promotes the Lakers brand. Okay, when the season ends, you know, Brandon Ingram has always gone back to North Carolina, and I'm sure he's been training hard and working hard in the offseason. And Lonzo Ball kind of goes and does, you know, whatever else he does. He, you know, works on his reality show, his rap career. I'm sure he does train and stuff too. But Kyle Kuzma just doesn't stop promoting the Lakers, you guys. With Kuz, it is basketball and it is the Lakers 150% of the time. You guys, he works endlessly at promoting the Lakers in a positive way. He does charity work both in LA and in Flint, Michigan. The past 2 years, he's also been doing a goodwill trip to China where he promotes the Lakers brand as well. And we've seen throughout the offseason, we saw it last season and we are seeing it this season, Kyle Kuzma works endlessly to improve his game, you guys. Anything that he needs to work on, he does so with a vengeance. Last summer, he even contacted Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in order to work out and get stronger and put on muscle. He reaches out to Kobe Bryant to train with. He reaches out to Metta World Peace to work on his defense. He works out to the top NBA players because he wants to be the best. And it is that kind of Mamba mentality that maybe, I don't want to say is lacking from Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, but it is something that is so apparent with Kyle Kuzma. He wants to be great, and I can guarantee you, because he has that mindset, he will be, and the Lakers see that. So yes, while Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball are considered to have higher ceilings than Kyle Kuzma, when you think logically and you compare what Kuz has done throughout his first couple of seasons in the NBA to what Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram have done, you guys, it makes sense to why the Lakers would want to keep this kid out of all of their members of the young core, and while they would go to such drastic lengths to make sure that they could keep him on their roster for next season, especially when you consider that we are trying to build a team around LeBron James, and when you consider how well he fits and how well he played with LeBron James, and how out of all of the members of the young core, he really did play the best with LeBron, it makes sense for why the Lakers would go to such drastic lengths and honestly risk possibly missing out on Anthony Davis because of their unwillingness to trade Kyle Kuzma. But that is going to be it for today's video, you guys. I am curious, do you think that the Lakers made a mistake trading Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart, and three first-round future picks to the New Orleans Pelicans for Anthony Davis? And who do you think actually won this trade? Do you think it was the New Orleans Pelicans, or do you think it was the Los Angeles Lakers? I, for one, think that the Lakers are coming out on top with this one, but I don't think that the New Orleans Pelicans are going to be suffering at all either. But I'm curious to what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a double thumbs up if you liked it. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to Chat Sports and the new Chat Sports Lakers YouTube channel. And of course, you can also follow me on Twitter at Hannah_Kulik and on Instagram at HannahRoseKulik. That's going to be it. And until next time, Laker Han is out. Bye, guys.